So, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to everybody over here. This is India Kids Summit Season 7, title partner Puntoon Kids, powered by Kidzania India and Mad Over Donuts, in association with Neela Film Productions, Blue Tribe Foods, and Whistling Woods International. Partners White Apple AI and Think Events, and of course, an initiative by IWM Buzz Life. Can I have a big round of applause for all our partners and sponsors, please? Thank you so much. Without your support, we truly couldn't have pulled this event off, so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. As you all are well aware of, ladies and gentlemen, kids' economy in the country has seen an encouraging, impactful, and immense rise in terms of content creation, innovation, and engagement. From animation to fiction, non-fiction to apps which make kids learning all the way more entertaining, kids as a genre is here to stay and grow in leaps and bounds. The summit intends to bring together the custodians, creators, marketers, and influencers all under one roof to discuss current and future trends in terms of kids' content entertainment in the country. So truly a wonderful kind of initiative indeed. Please clap it up for India Kids Summit Season 7, ladies and gentlemen. Can I have a big round of applause? Thank you so much. This is the 7th season, 7 times better than what we have had, and it's only going to get bigger and better. Thank you so much. We are right now going to be going ahead with the first fireside conversation, and to tell you all about the topic is going to be winning the next generation, trust, experience, and the future of young India. I'm going to repeat the topic for everybody over here. This is going to be winning the next generation, trust, experience, and the future of young India. We have two incredibly special individuals over here who are joining us for this fireside chat. They bring alongside themselves an absolute pool of experience and expertise, and it's truly a very fortunate scenario for all of us that we have both of them over here. I'm going to be calling up on stage Megha Tata, who's an honorable strategic advisor and independent director, alongside Sanjeev Kumar, the chairman of Kidzania India. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest round of applause for both of them, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Pleasure. Thank you so much. And both of you to take your seats. Thank you.
Thank you, Zubojit, right? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Hello, should I call you Sanjeev or Zanjeev?
Sanjeev.
Okay. Okay, done. Well, thank you so much, Siddharth and team, for inviting us for this wonderful initiative. Been part of this 7-year journey in different ways. I think 6 out of 7 at least I've been around. So thank you so much for a wonderful audience here. And starting the day, it's an interesting conversation. I've been in the media industry for over 3 decades, 35 years to be honest. And the kind of shift we have seen in one of the target audiences has been children. I have had my own kids, and I've seen me as a child to where now what the kids are doing. So from, forget about I don't know what our generation is called anymore, but even if you take from Gen Z to Gen Alpha, and now I'm told there's a Sigma and a Beta or whatever the names they're giving, is coming around. So kids who are born this year, 25 onwards, are called Sigma and Beta. I think one of the biggest issues I felt have happened in this journey is the ability for these kids to stick onto something. I think their attention span has just been deteriorating. We all know that. I mean, we as kids didn't have the digital bombardment. And today, while we moved from analog to digital, these kids, especially the millennials and Gen Z, of course, are very digital natives, as we know. And in fact, kids who are going to be born now, 25 onwards, are AI natives. So the way they are wired up is very different to a large part of people who are sitting in the decision-making seats of advertising, marketers, and so on and so forth. So I think what we like to discuss today is that where we are what's happening in our spaces. I represent media, which has seen a dramatic shift in the way the content is consumed, created, and commercialized. And Sanjeev comes from a very hands-on experience, like touch and feel world, where you're in experiential world, where he's seen children, how they were and how they are today, and how the families are interacting, not only within the country but globally, because the brand is global. So it'll be interesting to see how the combination of brick and mortar plus and the virtual world can come together to not only address where we are, but maybe what should be going forward. So with that, Sanjeev, maybe you can start by sharing what's happened in the last, considering it's a 7-year session, in the last 7 years, what have you seen the shift which has taken place in the experiential world of kids?
Thank you and welcome everybody to this session. Megha, let me take a minute to go to the background a little bit more. Kidzania as a concept is over 25 years old now, although this session is 7 years. It started first in Mexico City, simply by the reason that Mexico City had the largest population of children at that particular time. So starting 25 years ago, there are now 27 Kidzania centers across the globe in 21 countries, and we have 2 in India. So we basically have an experience of over 25 years in terms of children behavior, their interests, their learning, their values. So this is number one background. India also, as everybody is aware, has the youngest population in terms of numbers globally, and we have a very diverse. So to say what is the behavior pattern, I think we need to be clear that it is not the same across India. We also have the privilege of hosting over 3,000 schools, and we see the difference from outstation schools, Tier B, Tier C, how they behave in general. But one thing is common. Children are growing up faster. Children are more knowledgeable. Children are more independent. That's the first thing. Number two, which comes as a surprise to the parents, and this is again the evolution over the years. Left alone, they want to experiment, they want to explore, and they learn through this. And they take decisions which parents sometimes are surprised. Coming to Kidzania, for example, we have seen a paradigm shift. How fast they grasp the power of economy, of money, where to earn, where to spend, how to save, what is the interest. Maybe sometimes the parents are really lambasted. Okay, what is this? This man knows how to do it, which activities to pick. So this is really an evolution we have seen in terms of them getting smarter about real life experiences in Kidzania. Number two, from pester power to influences. They are knowledgeable, they take informed decisions, and they are involved in the parents in many things. As you correctly mentioned, they are digitally wired. In some ways, they have much more technical knowledge about products, especially electronics, software, and they really are the deciding factor in taking decisions. So these are the 2 key observations that we have seen that which has changed over the years. But when I'm talking of the change, I cannot forget the parents and the family and the learning part of it. The parents are much, much more involved. They are going from the standard mark sheets, my child has done well in school, to what is the development outside of the school. This has really become a very key criteria. They want a holistic development, an all-round development. They want to see, are they really learning outside wherever they go? It is not what we call time pass. Is that place safe? Is there certain values in that place? So we really see this a lot in which was not there before. We see this a paradigm shift in the last 10 years. Pele, okay, it's an amusement park. Oh, now they know it's not even an amusement park. It's a learning, it's a knowledge, it is safe. So this is again a major shift. One thing which probably all of us will realize, because parents are so busy today, and normally they have a dual family working, they do carry a sense of a little bit of a guilt, which we have seen increasing over the years. So the time they spent with the children is quality time. Because they say we have very limited time, so it's much more interactive, it's much more of shared experiences, which is again a major shift we have seen. Number three, of course, is as a family, they want to do experiences, memory, travel together, everything which gets them to a bonding. And learning, as you had correctly mentioned, is now much more out of the school. It is through various social media tools, travels. But then this learning can be fragmented, it can be dangerous, which we are seeing in many countries, that they are putting a ban on social media below the age of 15 or 16. So I believe in this environment, uh, a, a concept like Kidzania, I'm not saying only Kidzania, which basically teaches you real world experiences in a safe and a structured manner and helps them prepare for the real world becomes even more important.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think we've known that physical interaction, bringing physicality into a child's life is definitely, we all know that's great added value. In fact, when I look at some of the content changes which are taking place, and there are a few content people in the room here. I think one of the challenges I feel a lot of platforms, content creators have been facing is obviously the attention span. So the kids don't have the attention to stick on to content long, and second, are not. There's a huge question on loyalty. There is they just move very fast. They are just consuming content, and and that's not just a kids thing. It's a all of us today. If you look at the whole doom scrolling part of it, people are just constantly not sticking to something. So that has created a big challenge for the content creators as well. And I think it's interesting. I mean, I'd like to see that the content creators, how are they sort of going to be making a shift in bringing that, accepting this reality. And what I feel is that, of course, with AI, of course, there's going to be that much more challenge now for content creation, consumption, and kids are just getting too much bombarded out there. And that is where the big challenge continues to be, whether the brands, how to capture that brand, how should that brand capture the kids' attention, and of course the family who's taking the decision to buy that brand as well. So I think the overall situation in the content creation space is very, very tough, and it's only getting tougher. I feel the kids not need more spaces like Kidzania. I think it creates a beautiful balance of understanding, consuming a content which is being created on virtual platforms, but to go physically and experience it is a fantastic thing. So I was wondering whether there is a way to bring more of Kidzanias in the ecosystem, because we know that while it's a great concept, it's not very accessible. People, whether it's a travel, the distance to get to a place, or ability to, just the fact that it's going to take us a lot of time, and you just can't take a decision. Okay, today let me just go. I have to plan to go to Kidzania or places like these. So, is there a way are you thinking of anything which can be more accessible to people? Maybe mini kids areas, maybe franchised models which are more accessible in across the city than that one destination kind of setup which you have today?
Well, that's a lot of questions. Let me start with the first one. Attention span. See, the attention span of a child, yes, I agree with you, is definitely going down. But here in Kidzania, the activities that we have, we also evolve the activities to make them more in tandem with what the child's interest is. So I'll come back to your content and other questions. We do not see a diminishing of their interest in the activities that we have here. Our typical activities are 15 to 20 minutes, and we definitely find they're completely engrossed in those activities. But the difference is, our activities are real world experiences because we have brands which are responsible brands, but they are learning here. Now they're learning in a fun way. So I will always say this, the difference between, from your end of the world and our end of the world is that, let's assume we take a simple product. Okay, it's not considered very healthy, but let's take a chocolate. Has anybody wondered how it is made? Starting from the beans in West Africa or South America, to the sorting, to the distribution, to the grinding, to the process, to the safety standards, to the care for the environment, and then you have finally a process. So there is a lot of learning what goes inside this. Now, how do you create the attention span is by that learning process. How do you create a brand affinity is by the journey of that brand, where if there is a farmer in Africa or if there's a farmer in Brazil, what are they doing for the upliftment of that? That has become very, very important. I was to cover this later, but let me even cover it now. If you simply say, buy, it's a price, it's a taste. But if you go through the journey at a young age, when the children are much more conscious of the environment, much more conscious of how the workforce is, how do you take care of them, that resonates with the child. Because they really see that we are not polluting, we are creating a better thing, we are providing food education to the villages, we are uplifting them, we are bringing them in a much more developed way than they would be otherwise. So we are what I call a responsible brand, which cares for its people, it cares for our surroundings, and it cares for the environment. Yes, ultimately we have to sell, but here it creates definitely that this is a good company, a good brand, and that will be a point of recall. After that, of course, it's your domain of pricing and product and packaging, but at least they know that we have a choice of a company which is good.
Yeah. No, which is wonderful that, Kidsania is being, there is a option available for kids to go out there. But even if I look at the kind of content which is being created, I was talking to someone from the industry. I think one of the things from the content creation and the consumption point of view for kids of this, who are consuming kids, who are consuming content on the traditional networks like television still, is that, when I look at, it's a 7-year journey, but if I look at the last 15 years, there has been very limited new franchises which have come out of any platform. So we're still talking the similar kind of shows which have been doing well, whether it is a Motu Patlu or a Chota Bheem or a handful of names I'm not recollecting, but those are the handful of shows which are still existing on the platforms. And when I was talking to some of my friends in the industry, and I'm like, why is it that we're not able to break through that? Like, why is it that we are not able to create content which not only is new, but cuts across the globe? We're still stuck in that little limited world of ours. And I think it is a combination of multiple things. One of the biggest reason is the reduction of children consuming content on these platforms. So when it's a business decision also at the end of the day. When you're creating content, you have to make money, and money is getting reduced because advertising is coming down, and it becomes a little bit of a chicken and egg. So there is limited business models right now to create new content which can be more engaging, can be more, if you're bringing more entertainment into it. So already the child does not have too much to offer, and then you layer it up with the social media, which is really in your face, which you don't have any control on, and they're consuming so much of crap content as well, which you should not be watching. It's a bit of a little quagmire right now. And I think it is very important for media platforms, organizations like yourselves, to create more environments, to bring children out, to have that physicality in their lives. But having said that, I think it'd be interesting to hear from you also. I think you were mentioning about an example in Mexico, and how this generation of kids who came out of Kidzania, how they are changing the world in many ways. You may want to share that.
Yeah. See, let me answer the last one. See, since in Mexico City, we are been in operation for 25 years. So they say there is not one child in Mexico City which has not been to Kidzania. And today all these youngsters are in positions of importance, let's put it this way, in the industry, in the government. In fact, one of our ex is the mayor of Mexico City. They drive the path for a more cleaner environment, for a safer environment. And Mexico City was one of the most polluted cities. I think it was as bad as Delhi is today. But today, Mexico City is a clean city in environment. The traffic is better. It's a much safer city, driven by these youngsters. We are not taking credit because of Kidzania, but definitely certain institutions like this, which have changed their perspective, and the old guard has given way to a new guard, which has different ideas and different drives. I'll also tell you, coming back to the content, here I have an experience to share with you. Uh, my granddaughter is in Singapore and she's 2.5. She's allowed 20 minutes of screen time every day. But look at the screen time choices that we have here. There is an Australian program called Bluey. I mean, it's something which is fun. It is of extreme interest to children, but it teaches you values. Again, something like Kidzania, fun, education, socialization, but learning. And I actually see that program and I see, my God, it's something really interesting. Child learns from it and child learns the values from it, but I don't see any such content coming out of India.
In
And
fact,
that's where I
want
wonder
to,
why.
yeah, that's because also it's a great point and something the kids industry has dabbled in for many years. It's again a business and the economics of the decision, and there you need very deep pockets to create content of that quality without getting too much in return. What I mean is that there is a restriction industry has on what you can advertise to kids in India. So if it's content made for kids, you cannot, there's a whole list of brands which cannot advertise to them. And that creates, sort of ties the hands of people, content creators, to create content because you're not able to make that ROI work. And animation, if that is specifically it, because Bluey is an animated content, and there's a lot of preschool kids content which is beautiful out there, but it doesn't make money directly. So these franchises who have sort of made money is over years of investment of creating content and then looking at franchise models and then look at licensing merchandising, and then those are different peripheral businesses which can come out of those brands and that kind of content, which in India, unfortunately, we've not been able to crack. And it's a chicken and egg, like I said. It's a cost involvement. We don't have that. I mean, like I said, we don't have any other new content created in the last 10 years. We're still talking the same shows. So there's this handful of shows which still exist, and none of them have left the country. There's no global hit you can call. And one of the other challenges, I think, from a content creation is a lot of our thinking, unfortunately, revolves around Indian mythology. And Indian mythology has its limitation. I don't know if you saw the recent drama in which got, Namit's new huge initiative, which is coming, which he recently announced. It's a huge, big film which is being made. Thousands of crores are being spent. But at the end of the day, it's still Ramayana. Like, that is a reality of our, I guess, set of the challenges we are facing. So, Chota Bheem also came from a mythological character. Of course, it's not mythology, but I think Motu Patlu was a little different, fortunately. But I think that is the issue. We are not able to come out of creating content or coming up with an idea which is beyond a certain framework we've been wired in. And my personal view is that is one of the biggest reasons why we're not able to create any content mix or idea which has gone beyond India. So that's been bigger challenge.
See, Megha, I would slightly disagree with you there. Okay, there are enough people in this country who would put in money for a good cause.
Please send us to them.
Okay, sure. Starting with the Premji Foundation or even the foundations across the world. Okay, let's start with the example of Kidzania and your question as to why we can't have multiple Kidzanias across. See, Kidzania in one way is really not designed to make what I call an ROI for the investors. Because the standards of safety, the standards of material used, and the locations, the size, involves a very large amount of capex, which unfortunately doesn't result in a real return to the shareholders. But yet, we have plenty of such people across the world who are willing to put it because they believe in a cause. They believe in creating a better world for the generation to be, which is the core of Kidsania. The let's make the world a better place for the generations to follow, which is a fact. In a small way, it does help. Everybody is equal here. Our core values to be, to share, to play, all are actually what it should be, unlike what we really see in some of the media today where you massacre hundreds of people and the movie is a big hit. So there are people. Even today as we speak, there are 4 more Kidsanias opening up in I would call the most capitalistic states, which are Hong Kong. So we have in Hong Kong, Athens, Taiwan. So there are people who are willing to do that. So on a serious note, I would say that there would be people who are willing to do it, provided they know the content is for a specific purpose, which is to give good values, to give good knowledge to the children of this country. I don't think that should be a problem. But if you mix it up with the mainline media as a company which needs profit after profit, then it will not happen. So that's my view on it. And that also comes to your question as to why we cannot set up Money More Kidsanias is simply that, again, the concept that people who want an ROI won't put in money here. We have to expand in a different model, which is smaller, less expensive, but has a wider reach. So we are working on that.
Okay, yeah. But on to your point, there are 2 different models. You are, if you are approaching investors more from a social good point of view, sure, then it can also come out from their CSR budgets and so on and so forth. But media and entertainment industry is very commercial industry. It's so if you're putting money on it, there is an expectation for returns. So it's not doesn't fall under the social cause category, so which is becomes the challenge, I guess. So I think unfortunately we are unable to create there is content being created which is in the social good space as well. So it's not like things are not happening. There's enough and more content out there. I'm looking at, my point was more at a larger scale, that there is very limited kind of content which is, which addresses some of these points. But I think more challenging what's going to happen is for the brands right now to address this audience, to get them to, they don't know where to target, they don't know where to put the money in. Digital has its own set of challenges, social is all over the place, the traditional mediums are declining. So there's a bit of a tap dance which is taking place, which probably will find its rhythm in some form. But currently the scenario is definitely challenged. And I think, our time is up, but I want to sort of also highlight something which I just read on the way here. One of the biggest things which I feel for the kids at large I personally have had a big question is the education system of ours, and which itself is flawed in so many ways. This is not about the content part of the discussion, but more generically for kids as an audience. And I think kids are in what we've been teaching our children in schools is so irrelevant in today's time that it is just ridiculous. I mean, I have no idea why. I never thought it made sense even when I was a kid, leave alone for kids today. So it was very heartening to see. I just read that CBSE has made a step in that direction where they're changing the entire curriculum from 26 onwards, which is very progressive. More skill-based content, more AI is part of it. There's a whole lot of agendas which has been shared, and I hope more, boards like IGIB, state boards are able to adapt to it, because I think that is a fundamental change which is required at a very grassroots level for children to be far more better thinkers and not rote learners. And in that will come a lot more opportunities for even spaces like this.
This is interesting. I know we are But another 2-3 minutes, please. Let me give you an interesting example. There's a very different view today on education. One theory is that you go to school for socialization and social skills, interacting, communicating, whereas the real learning is a different subject because you are learning it from tools outside of the school through various AI and etc. So it's a blend of learning of out of school and learning skills, social skills especially, which are missing, empathy, care, etc., which should be the core of education. I'll give you another example which is very, very pertinent. I was at the anniversary of our batch in IIT Delhi a few weeks ago, and we were privy to having Mr. Altman of the Great, and Vinod Khosla, who's my batchmate, who had come down from California, who you know is Sun Microsystems. So he was addressing a packed audience of maybe 1,000 BTech students, MTech students, PhDs, and he said one thing, you know, I have more knowledge in my phone today through my AI tool than all of you put together. So everybody was a bit taken aback as what he's talking. He says, yes, if you are talking of the knowledge of physics, chemistry, maths, I have more knowledge in this device. So your job is not to learn the traditional way what you used to do in IIT. Your job is to be curious, your job is to innovate, your job is to predict the future, go out of the boundaries. So in a way that answers your question, because what you are learning in school you can learn easily. So, but the skill sets that we are teaching in the school, in my opinion, are missing. That is what we create a good human being. That should be the most important. The rest of the skill sets you are anyway going to learn, and as AI develops more and more, you really will have to have a different model of teaching in schools, where bulk of the things you can learn on your own.
That's why it's called the smartphone.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, thank you so much, Sanjeev. It was wonderful chatting with you. I hope it was an interesting conversation for you guys too. And thank you for your time. And thank you, IWM and Siddharth.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
I'm going to be calling up on stage Mr. Saurav Kumar, founder and CEO of Puntun Kids. So please kindly come up on stage and give the token of appreciation to our esteemed speakers over here. Big round of applause to Mr. Kumar as well, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can we have a big round of applause for all of them, please? Thank you. Bahut bahut shukriya. We have the token of appreciation. I'll request both of you to please remain on stage. Yeah. Yeah, we have some token of appreciation as well for all of you over here. Thank you so much. And we love pampering our guests, so we have a lot more as well. So it's going to keep coming. That's how it is. Thank you so much for taking out time from your respective busy schedules to be with us. Truly, truly grateful. Absolutely, yes. Thank you. Kind of all of you. Thank you.